Let's discuss an extraordinarily promising company today. Could this be the new Starlink? The company is involved in space communications and has enormous potential. We will also consider its volatility, look at market forecasts, and analyze what the market predicts for it. Additionally, I'll provide an overview of the company's activities, its prospects, and touch upon the American telecommunications sector. We'll consider whether this company has the potential to surpass giants like Verizon and its overall growth potential. Let's start from the beginning and introduce you to what this company does. AST SpaceMobile engages in building a broadband cellular network in space to operate directly with standard, unmodified mobile devices based on an extensive IP and patent portfolio. It focuses on providing mobile broadband services with global coverage to all end users without the need to purchase special equipment. The company was founded by Abel Avellan on May 31, 2017. It certainly sounds very interesting and promising, especially since we see that there is already a similar company by Elon Musk, Starlink, which deals with similar things but with slightly different parameters. So the companies are similar on one hand, but on the other hand, they operate on somewhat different principles. I'll mention right away that over the past 2 months, the company has grown by 760%. This is an insanely large growth. I fully admit that historical highs will be rewritten soon. The company is currently valued at just $5 billion, which is actually quite modest. Let's look at its performance indicators. As we can see, the data here is a bit outdated because the company is already valued at $5 billion, but as we see, it is absolutely unprofitable. There are no revenues, so the PE ratio cannot be calculated. Obviously, there is no point in looking at the maximum unprofitable margin. However, the issue here is not the profitability but the prospects. If we invest in this company, we are not looking for dividends or profitability. We are counting on a revolution, literally a revolution. Let's quickly look at the latest news provided by the company and then move on to technical analysis and volatility. The company building the first and only space-based cellular broadband network accessible directly by everyday smartphones and designed for both commercial and government applications, today announced it will hold a quarterly business update conference call on Wednesday, August 14th. AST SpaceMobile will be accepting questions from retail and institutional shareholders, and management will answer select questions relating to AST SpaceMobile's business and financial results on the conference call. Investors are encouraged to submit questions also. As we see, the company has social media accounts on YouTube and Facebook. If anyone is interested, you can visit and learn more in detail. And now we smoothly transition to technical analysis to see what's happening here. As usual, following the old tradition, I start with volatility because the growth has been enormous and volatility has also increased, especially with the upcoming report. As we can see, up to this point, all reports have been unprofitable and very small. In some instances, there was no revenue at all, literally zero. Here we can see that the company earned literally nothing, meaning the company's revenue. We're not talking about profit, there was no revenue at all. As we can see, the previous report showed only $500,000, so there were likely some write-offs or something else. It requires a more in-depth analysis to understand where these losses came from, but as we can see, it is now almost $8 million, which is certainly interesting. So let's return to volatility. As we can see, the volatility of this company is at quite a high level, around 100%. For some expiration dates and strike prices, the volatility has risen to 140%. This is undoubtedly related to both the significant growth and the upcoming report. Now let's look further at the volatility smile. Of course, the stocks are not heavily traded, especially in the options market. But I want to point out that the volatility curve is a straight line, slightly tilted towards the put options, but there isn't much to say about it. Now let's look at historical and implied volatility. As we can see, historical volatility, the gray line, and implied volatility, the white line, are at approximately the same level. However, the company has been lightly traded until recently. As we see, its trading volume was very low, and only recently has there been a significant increase in trading volume. Therefore, we will continue to monitor historical and implied volatility because trading volumes are only now starting to form. Similarly, historical volatility is only now forming. So this is all literally emerging before our eyes. Now let's look at trading volumes. Here, the trading volume is small, but we should still pay attention to it. The trading volume is very large for call options at the $20 level. Let's look at this value right away. $20 is the next target, a rather serious target, and significant resistance. Most likely, we won't be able to overcome it just like that. We might even hit this resistance in the next couple of days and fluctuate around these levels until the report. After the report, something incredible might happen. There are two options here. The company could either truly start growing exponentially or everything could collapse like a bubble. predicting what will be in the report is very difficult. I, of course, do not have any insider information. I am observing this company just like you, this so-called new miracle. If we sell at $20, the next volume is concentrated at $25. That means the stock might start moving in impulses to $25, and then there's no resistance at all. As we can see, this could literally happen like this. We likely had some resistance and support lines at the $2.50 level. We see that we were fluctuating around here. Then an event occurs, currently the report, and after this, the company starts growing exponentially. The resistance levels are overcome, and we just start rising higher. Very interesting indeed. We will be watching this closely. Now let's look at the market forecast. As we can see, in mid-August, the market predicts a price between $16 and $17, which is roughly the range the stock is currently in. But if we look at longer expiration dates like in September, the market is more skeptical. The stock is forecasted to be in the $12–18 range, indicating a shift towards a potential decline. If we look at the end of the year, the market predicts strange things, with the stock possibly being worth as little as $1. This is partly because the options market and derivatives market are not yet heavily traded. The stock is very new, and nothing significant is happening yet, so trading volume is only now beginning to form. We also don't have the report yet, and after the report, the market will form a clearer position on what will happen. I also want to draw your attention to the options market itself. We see that we have quite a few expiration dates, which is good in a way. We also have many strike prices ranging from $2.50 to $33. But on the other hand, we see that the volume at these strikes is very minimal. Some strikes have volumes of 12, others 1, and some have no volume at all. But I think over time, the stock will become more actively traded. We will definitely be watching this. So what is its potential? Given its recent explosive growth, the company's potential seems substantial, but with high volatility, it carries significant risks. Investors should be cautious and monitor upcoming reports and market reactions closely. The company's innovative position in the space communications sector positions it well for substantial growth if it can capitalize on its opportunities effectively. However, without consistent revenue and profitability, it remains a high-risk, high-reward investment. Indeed, the potential is colossal. However, it's essential to acknowledge that this is genuinely a venture investment, a very risky one. I personally wouldn't invest more than 5% into this stock. If you're interested in which specific stocks I invest in, check out my segment where I started a new portfolio from scratch and we build it together. I discuss what's happening there. So of course the company is very risky but also very promising. Its current capitalization is $5 billion. If it grows to $50 billion, that's a tenfold increase, meaning the stock would be worth $180. Increasing capital tenfold is very significant. But let's also look at the telecommunications market, the telecom sector. The three biggest players here are at&t, Verizon, and T-Mobile. These are the classics, a defensive sector. People will always use the internet. at&t is valued at $130 billion, Verizon at $160 billion, and T-Mobile at $200 billion. Together, these companies are worth over $500 billion, which is very substantial. So what is the potential of this company? In fact, its potential might be even greater than these giants. Why? Because it can capture more significant markets. Obviously, when traveling across different countries, you need to buy different SIM cards, one for Europe, another for Africa. Where to find them and how? Imagine if you had just one SIM card that connected to the internet anywhere in the world. Again, this sounds like science fiction, but remember, touch phones were once considered science fiction too. We'll see where the technology goes. If this technology develops significantly and we receive the internet directly from space rather than from terrestrial towers, the world will become even more globalized. This is another step toward globalization. So now you can travel without being limited in terms of connectivity and internet access. It really sounds fantastic. This also opens up other possibilities, like for Arctic exploration and other reconnaissance groups. But that's a whole different story. There's a lot to discuss and speculate about what could happen. However, I must emphasize again that this company is currently purely a venture investment, very risky. What will happen? It might turn out to be a technological bubble. Anything is possible. I haven't used this technology in practice myself. If it weren't for the company's presence on the stock market, I wouldn't have known such a thing existed. Yes, I've heard about Elon Musk's technologies, but they require setting up a large, stationary dish to connect to space. This company claims to have more breakthrough technologies. Again, if it weren't for the stock market and investments, I wouldn't have known about this company in everyday life. So we will naturally follow the news and see how this develops. I believe that in the future, bloggers and tech enthusiasts will test this technology because it will probably not be available to ordinary people right away. But I wanted to highlight this company so you know it exists, and we will keep an eye on it. If you have any questions about this company or any comments, please write them in the comments section and let's discuss it. I also remind you that I have launched a new experiment where I manage my portfolio from scratch, sharing what stocks I buy and sell. So be sure to check out that video, subscribe, and good luck to everyone.